Seneca once wrote, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable." A woman who is curious about your interest in her will never admit it openly, but her actions will whisper it. Stoics, masters of reading behavior and knowing intention, understood that subtlety often speaks louder than words. In this video, you're going to learn exactly how a woman tests the waters, how she carefully places signs in front of you to see if you respond. This isn't theory. This is behavioral reality. And if you don't notice these 7 signs, you'll miss your opportunity entirely. Watch until the end, because each chapter builds on the last, and the final one may change how you view female behavior forever. Like, subscribe, comment your story, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Let's get to it. Chapter 1 creates opportunities to be together. When a woman wants to know if you're interested, she doesn't ask you directly. That would make her too vulnerable, too exposed. Instead, she creates the conditions where your interest can naturally emerge. She places herself in your world, not forcefully, but deliberately. Think of it as strategy, not seduction. She's not chasing you. She's watching how you respond to her subtle invitations. Every interaction is a small experiment. A way to measure your consistency. A way to feel out your rhythm. She engineers proximity. Not in obvious or needy ways, but in thoughtful, calculated steps. She might ask for your help with something you're good at. It could be lifting a box, fixing a minor problem, offering advice on a subject she knows you have insight into. It might seem like coincidence, but it's not. She's placing value on your presence. She could have asked someone else. But she didn't. She asked you. And if it happens more than once, if it becomes a pattern, then you're not imagining it. She's creating reasons to keep you near. To see if you'll notice. And it doesn't stop with favors. She'll open the door through shared experiences. Group hangouts. Small gatherings. A casual hike. A spontaneous dinner. A morning coffee run. These invitations are rarely framed as dates, but your presence clearly matters. She makes sure you're included. And when you're there, she orbits close. Not necessarily glued to your side, but near enough to start a private conversation, to laugh at your jokes, to subtly shift the energy in your direction. These aren't random behaviors. These are signs of someone calculating the next move, but waiting for your move first. Stoicism teaches us to look beyond surface impressions, to see intention through repeated action. Shared time, from a Stoic lens, is never accidental. A woman who consistently finds her way into your space, who initiates real-world interactions, not just digital small talk, is signaling something deeper. She's telling you, without words, I'm here. Do you want me here? It's not desperation. It's observation. She's watching what you do with the space she's made for you. Now here's where most men either miss it or mess it up. They either get so caught up in their own internal fantasies that they misread everything, or they stay so distant and passive that they ignore the real invitations happening right in front of them. The Stoic man does neither. He watches without delusion. He reads patterns, not just one-off moments. He doesn't assume attraction because of a compliment or a smile. He looks for consistency. Is she finding reasons to see you again? Is she putting herself in your environment with subtle frequency? Is she asking things of you that deepen your involvement in her life? If so, she's doing more than being polite. She's inviting a connection. A Stoic man honors that invitation without overstepping. He doesn't jump to conclusions. He stays grounded, calm, fully present. He doesn't make a move just because he's flattered. He makes a move when the moment is right. And if he's not interested, he doesn't exploit the attention. He draws the boundary with kindness and strength. That's what separates men with integrity from boys looking for validation. The point is simple, so a woman who keeps making time for you wants to know if you'll do the same. She's not going to come right out and say it. She's going to create space for something to happen and wait to see if you have the presence to recognize it. And if you don't, she'll stop. She won't beg. She'll just disappear, and you'll never know how close you were. In a world that's full of noise, a woman's time is one of her clearest indicators of interest. If she's giving it to you, pay attention. Not because you're entitled to anything, but because she's revealing something she won't say aloud. I've made room for you. Now what are you going to do with it? Chapter 2 teases or lightly jokes. The Stoics respected humor, not because it made life easier, but because it revealed what a person could endure. They understood that jokes, especially subtle or playful ones, expose your core. They press gently against your ego to see if it collapses or holds firm. And when a woman teases you, even in the softest way, she's not trying to embarrass you. She's testing the edges of your character. She's checking your temperature, not your intelligence, but your stability. Playful teasing is rarely about the words themselves. It's about what those words provoke. When she throws a light jab like, "Wow, someone's confident today," or says that you're flirting face, she's not attacking your ego, she's nudging it. Watching how it responds. Does it swell? Shrink? Get flustered? Or does it remain steady? A grounded man knows that humor, especially from a woman, is never accidental. It's a calculated signal wrapped in amusement. This kind of banter is low-risk communication. It lets her approach emotional closeness without declaring direct interest. It's the emotional version of brushing up against you instead of grabbing your hand. If she said, "I like you," she'd feel exposed. But if she says, "Lua, you're such a show-off," after you say something clever or do something impressive, she's offering a safer message. "I noticed you, and I like what I see, but I want to see how you handle it first." Your reaction determines whether she leans in or checks out. If you take the comment too seriously, either by getting defensive or over-explaining, you kill the spark. She wasn't looking for validation. She was looking for fluidity. If you freeze, she senses rigidity. If you lash out, she sees insecurity. But if you meet her tease with calm energy, a relaxed smile, maybe even a witty return, now you've shown her something rare. You've shown her that you can play without losing your frame. That's what truly draws women in, not the joke itself, but your resilience inside the playfulness. A man who can hold his center while laughing at himself radiates strength. Not because he's trying to win, but because he doesn't need to. Many men fail here in two specific ways. The first is by trying too hard. They go overboard, trying to out-joke her, trying to dominate the humor, to turn everything into a performance. That becomes exhausting. It turns play into ego competition, and it's repulsive because it reeks of insecurity masked as charm. The second mistake is retreating, getting awkward, going silent, becoming serious. That makes her feel like she's stepping on glass. Suddenly, the lightness dies, and so does the attraction. The Stoic response lies in the middle. You're not trying to win the joke. You're simply participating in the dance. You're not reacting, you're responding. Intentionally. Presently. You understand that teasing is not an attack, it's a bridge. A woman who jokes with you is asking, "Can we do this together? Can we play in the same emotional space without either of us breaking character?" Think of it like verbal sparring. Not with aggression, but with rhythm. She throws a jab. You catch it. Maybe toss one back. Or maybe you just smile, nod, and let her know you're unfazed. That's subtle mastery of your energy. That's Stoicism in action. That's what makes you different. Stoic men don't chase laughs. They don't perform. They don't take jokes personally because they are not invested in ego games. They understand humor as a tool for connection, a light, meaningful way to build trust without needing declarations. Women remember men who made them laugh without making it about themselves. Men who could join in the fun, not hijack it. And when a woman teases you, especially early on, she's doing more than being playful. She's giving you a chance. She's offering you a glimpse into her more relaxed self. Her less guarded self. But only if you prove you can handle it with grace. That means no overreactions, no need to win the moment, and no confusing the joke for a judgment. Because here's the truth, humor is a litmus test for emotional intelligence. If you can play, tease, joke, and still stay rooted, still stay calm, respectful, and present, you become irresistible. Not because you're funny, but because you're free. Free from needing approval. Free from taking things personally. Free from trying to prove your worth. And that freedom, that calm, light-hearted strength, it's the most attractive trait of all. Chapter 3. Watches your body language. A woman can listen to your words and still not believe a single thing you say. That's the paradox of communication. It's not what you say that convinces her, it's what you show. And your body? It never lies. That's why she pays attention to it more than anything else. When she's interested, or when she's unsure, she doesn't rely on your compliments, your jokes, or your charm. She watches your posture, your movements, the rhythm of your breath when you're near her. She studies how your eyes track her when she speaks. Do they stay locked onto hers, or do they drift restlessly, searching for distraction? Do you stand tall, or do you seem to fold into yourself the moment attention shifts your way? Do your arms cross in defense or rest at ease, open and relaxed? These tiny cues say more about your confidence, your interest, and your inner world than any rehearsed line ever could. She especially notices the way you orient your body in her presence. Do you lean in, signaling engagement? Or do you angle away, subtly distancing yourself even while speaking? Are you squared toward her, or turn to the side like you're halfway out the door? These things may seem small, but for a woman who's tuned in, which most are, they form a map. And she's reading it constantly, whether she's aware of it or not. And then there's mirroring. You might not even notice it, but if you start adopting her rhythm, matching her gestures, mimicking her tone, nodding when she nods, she will. She's hypersensitive to those micro-behaviors because they represent attunement. A sense of shared emotional space. When she sees you touch your face shortly after she touches hers, or lean forward when she does, her brain registers it as resonance. Connection. Alignment. It tells her you're subconsciously syncing, and that's something she takes seriously. But it works both ways. If you fidget excessively, shift your weight, tap your foot, or break eye contact too often, she interprets it as anxiety or disinterest. Not all nerves are bad, but a man who can't hold his own space is a man she instinctively sees as not ready, not grounded, and certainly not present. Presence is the key here. A Stoic man understands that every moment speaks. Even in silence, he is expressing who he is. He doesn't need to assert himself through volume or theatrics. His stillness, his breath, his eye contact, all of it becomes his message. When a woman senses that level of groundedness, she feels safer. Not in a protective sense, but in the sense that she's not being misled. That she's standing in front of someone who knows who he is and doesn't need to chase approval or pretend. This is why words matter less than most men think. You can compliment her 5 times, but if your body language screams insecurity or disinterest, she'll believe that. Because the body is ancient, primitive. It's the original form of communication, and we all read it instinctively. A woman who's genuinely curious about your feelings isn't looking for a speech. She's watching your reactions when she walks into the room. She's noticing whether your chest opens toward her or stays guarded, whether you flinch at her touch or remain composed, whether you carry yourself like a man who knows his value or like someone waiting to be told he has some. And she doesn't just watch you in isolation, she compares. She sees how you react to others. Do you light up more for someone else? Do you shift your posture around certain people? She's studying the whole ecosystem of your behavior, searching for signals that confirm or challenge her instincts. She doesn't want to guess whether you're into her. She wants to see it in the way you hold yourself around her, in how your energy shifts when she's nearby. This is where the Stoic mindset becomes powerful. A man anchored in his values doesn't perform. He doesn't need to exaggerate or shrink. He simply is. His body language flows from his internal state, not external approval. He breathes calmly. He moves with intention. He holds eye contact, not to dominate, but to remain fully present. His interest, if it exists, is shown not through overcompensation, but through attention. And a woman picks up on that fast. If you avoid her gaze or cross your arms when she's opening up, she feels it. She doesn't need to decode it. Her intuition does it for her. But if you stay open, patient, and calm, even while she's still figuring out how she feels, she'll remember. She'll feel seen, not rushed. That's how trust begins. That's how attraction deepens. So understand this, your body is always speaking. Even when you're quiet. Even when you're unsure. And she's always watching, not in a judgmental way, but in a curious one. She wants to know who you really are. And what you show her, physically, energetically, emotionally, becomes her answer. A Stoic man doesn't chase validation with words. He lets his body express integrity. And in doing so, he becomes someone a woman can not only desire, but believe. Chapter 4 mentions future plans. When a woman talks about the future in your presence, she's not just filling time with idle words, she's testing the waters. She's feeling out the emotional space between you, trying to figure out whether it has enough gravity to pull both of you into something that lasts longer than the moment. She might casually say, "We should check that place out sometime," or toss in, "That festival next month sounds fun, doesn't it?" And while on the surface it seems like small talk, underneath it's strategic. It's her quiet way of asking, "Do you see me as part of your life, even just a little bit past today?" These aren't empty phrases. They're loaded invitations. She's measuring how open you are to building something, anything, that exists beyond now. Because when a woman likes you, she naturally imagines what shared time with you could look like. It's not about locking you down or forcing commitment. It's about direction, trajectory, forward motion. She's hinting at connection that lives beyond the current setting. The subtext of those "maybe we should" comments is simple: I'm willing to go further. Are you? What she's really doing is creating a low-stakes opportunity for you to take the lead. To lean in. To say, "Yeah, let's do it. How about Friday?" Because your reaction to these moments tells her more than any direct question ever could. If you're enthusiastic, curious, or at least engaged, she feels validated. She sees a green light. If you brush it off or seem disinterested, she reads it loud and clear: you're not thinking beyond the now. You're not thinking with her. Stoicism teaches that the future is not something to be feared or fantasized about, but something to prepare for with intention. A man grounded in Stoic thought understands that every moment is a seed, and future outcomes are born from what he chooses to plant today. So when a woman introduces even the lightest reference to the future, she's extending fertile ground. She's offering a seed. And what you do with that, ignore it, plant it, or toss it aside, tells her more than words ever could. This isn't about talking kids, weddings, or long-term plans. It's not a trap. It's an instinctual move. A feminine way of aligning herself with someone she wants to move through time with, even if it's just a week, a weekend, or a single shared experience. It's emotional pacing. If you can't walk with her a few steps into a potential future, how can she trust you'll walk with her when the road gets real? A woman who starts placing you in future scenarios is actually exposing a form of vulnerability. She's letting you know she's already started envisioning a version of reality where you're still there. That matters. Even if she cloaks it in humor or playfulness, it's serious beneath the surface. She's watching for alignment, for cues, for resonance, and above all, for reciprocity. A man who's emotionally in tune doesn't dismiss these signals. He doesn't treat them as trivial. He listens, he responds, and he makes a choice. If he's interested, he lets that shared future take a small step forward, a date, a plan, even a light-hearted confirmation. If he's not, he answers gently but directly. Either way, he respects the gesture, because he knows what it takes to risk even a soft expression of interest. And he never leaves it hanging in the air unacknowledged. Here's what most men miss: when a woman brings up future plans, she's not waiting for a dreamer, she's waiting for a decider. Someone who can match her hint with initiative. She doesn't want fantasies, she wants direction. She wants to know that her subtle courage to look ahead doesn't fall on deaf ears. Because if it does, she won't keep trying. She'll retract. She'll fall silent. And once that future door closes, it rarely opens again. So next time a woman casually says, "That hike looks cool, maybe we should go," don't just smile and nod. Hear it for what it is, an invitation to share time, space, and energy beyond the current moment. She's not just thinking out loud, she's seeing if you are capable of thinking with her. A Stoic man doesn't chase the future, but he honors the paths that open before him. He walks with presence, but he doesn't fear the steps ahead. And in that balance, between stillness and movement, between now and later, a real connection can begin to grow. Chapter 5 gives compliments. When a woman gives you a compliment, it's never random. It might seem casual, light, even offhand. But beneath that simplicity lies something far more intentional. A compliment, especially from a woman who's emotionally aware, is a calculated gesture. It's her way of signaling interest without the risk of full vulnerability. She's showing you where her attention is landing, on your style, your tone, your mindset, your presence. She might say she likes your cologne, the way you explain something, how you carry yourself when you walk into a room. These aren't just niceties. They're reflections of her internal radar scanning you for value, presence, and strength. She doesn't compliment things she doesn't care about. She compliments what moves her, what stands out, what she finds magnetic. And every time she gives you one, she's watching how you handle it, not just what you say, but how your energy shifts. A man who immediately deflects, shrugging, laughing it off, or responding with self-deprecating humor, sends a silent message, "I'm not ready to be seen." And that hits hard. Because what she's offering isn't just words, it's visibility. A brief, delicate moment where she steps forward and says, "I notice something good in you." And if your immediate reaction is to deny, downplay, or dodge it, she starts to question if you're truly grounded. if you even believe in your own value. A Stoic man, however, receives a compliment like a still lake receives rain, calmly, without ripples of ego or insecurity. He doesn't gloat because he doesn't need to. But he doesn't reject it either because he knows his worth. He simply says, "Thank you," with a steady tone. He lets her see that he's capable of appreciation without dependence. That praise doesn't inflate his sense of self, but it doesn't destabilize it either. He is, in all moments, rooted. Here's where the deeper psychological layer comes in. Many women give compliments as emotional probes. These aren't just observations, they're subtle invitations. Invitations to meet her at a certain level of emotional intimacy. Can you acknowledge each other? Can you create a space where appreciation flows both ways? This isn't about flattery. It's about emotional fluency. If you can't accept a simple compliment, she wonders, will this man ever be able to accept deeper praise? Deeper love? In other words, her compliments are quiet auditions. She's not just looking at how attractive or smart or stylish you are, she's measuring whether you're open to recognition or whether you shrink in its presence. And even more, she's often waiting for a mirrored moment. Not necessarily a direct compliment back, but a sign that you see her too. That you notice something specific. That you're present and attentive enough to give a compliment of your own that goes beyond the surface. A Stoic man compliments with the same thoughtfulness. He doesn't compliment every woman. He doesn't hand them out cheaply. But when he does, he speaks with precision. That color brings out something in your eyes. Or if I noticed how you handled that situation. You have composure most people lack. These aren't pick-up lines, they're acknowledgments. And they're powerful because they show that you observe, that you feel, that you're awake to the small details others miss. This is how genuine connection begins. Through small, subtle signals that reveal mutual attention. And in this exchange of compliments, you start to understand the kind of emotional ground you're standing on. Is it fertile for more? Is there respect, admiration, resonance? Or is one person carrying all the weight of seeing and being seen? Remember, a woman's compliments are not a one-off. They are patterns. They are signals she sends over time, and how you receive them will either encourage her to open more or warn her to close off. Compliments are like breadcrumbs on the path toward intimacy. If she senses that every time she lays one down, you ignore it, step over it, or brush it away with awkwardness, she will stop dropping them altogether. And when a woman stops trying to see you, it's only a matter of time before she walks away completely. Every compliment she gives you is a small gift. And it's not the words that matter, it's the vulnerability behind them. She's risking something to put a little beauty into the space between you. Your job, as a grounded man, is not to inflate with pride or collapse with discomfort, but to receive it, honor it, and remain still within yourself. This is what Stoicism teaches, to be unshaken yet responsive. To understand the weight of small things. And when a woman offers you a compliment, she's not just talking about your shirt or your voice. She's trying to tell you something much bigger. I'm paying attention. The real question is, are you? Chapter 6 uses subtle physical touches. Touch is the oldest form of communication. Long before we learned to speak, we connected through contact, through proximity, warmth, and physical presence. It bypasses language. It moves under the surface of conversation and straight into the nervous system. And that's why, when a woman subtly initiates touch, it carries meaning. It's not random. It's not accidental. It's intention disguised as coincidence. She brushes your arm when you make her laugh. Her leg gently taps yours under the table. She moves close enough for your shoulders to graze. These moments may seem casual, but they are anything but. They are feelers, tests of safety and chemistry. What she's really asking is, do you feel this too? She's testing the space between you to see if it holds tension or potential. And it's important to understand, these touches are never loud. They aren't meant to startle or seduce in obvious ways. They're quiet, barely there, but they're deliberate. The woman who makes consistent, subtle contact is telling you she's comfortable around you, or that she wants to be. It's an invitation without a demand, a signal without a spotlight. There's something primal about it. Humans are wired to seek connection through skin-to-skin interaction. It lowers cortisol. It builds trust. And for a woman, initiating that contact, especially when she doesn't have to, is a form of vulnerability. She's revealing her openness, bit by bit, to see if it's safe, if it's welcome. This is where the Stoic man's strength becomes magnetic. A reactive man ruins the moment either by overstepping or freezing up in fear. He either takes it as a green light to escalate too fast, or he second-guesses and withdraws. But the Stoic man? He stays grounded. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't interpret every touch as a promise, and he doesn't dismiss it as nothing. He simply notices. He breathes. And most importantly, he remains present. When she touches your forearm during a joke, he feels it without needing to label it. When her hand lingers a beat too long during a handshake, he doesn't rush to pull away, nor does he clutch it longer to prove something. He respects the energy of the moment. If she's building something emotional with that contact, he lets it unfold naturally. This kind of awareness is rare. And women feel it. They feel when they're with a man who isn't just physically present, but emotionally attuned. Who won't use her touch as an excuse for performance or ego. He's not trying to win anything. He's not strategizing. He's just there, alert, calm, and receptive. And sometimes that makes all the difference. Because physical touch isn't just about sex or flirtation. It's about security. When she touches you lightly, she's measuring the emotional climate. Is this a man who respects boundaries? Is this a man who understands subtlety? Is this a man I can let in slowly, silently, through gestures that speak louder than words? A woman who initiates physical touch is expressing more than curiosity. She's signaling a desire for connection that's not just mental or emotional, but also embodied. She's saying, I want to feel close to you, even if I don't say it outright. And how you respond to that matters. The Stoic man doesn't respond with neediness, nor with arrogance. He doesn't use her touch to validate his self-worth, and he doesn't try to escalate the moment into something it's not. He simply mirrors the energy, honors the moment, and lets the chemistry grow at its own pace, if it's there. Touch, at this level, is not just a physical act, it's relational intelligence. It's a way of tuning in. Of saying, I'm here with you, without ever speaking. And if she's reaching out with her body, lightly, slowly, cautiously, it's because she wants to know if your body can speak the same language. So pay attention. Not with paranoia or expectation, but with presence. Notice the fingertips that linger. The shared warmth of a passing gesture. The stillness that follows an intentional touch. These are the moments that build real attraction, not through manipulation or performance, but through emotional resonance and mutual awareness. In a world full of noise, her touch is a quiet question, do you feel this too? And your answer doesn't have to be spoken. It just has to be real. Chapter 7 mirrors your energy. Mirroring is one of the deepest, most instinctual signs of interest because it doesn't originate from the conscious mind. It comes from something older, something buried in the nervous system. When a woman begins to mirror you, it's not something she plans. It just happens. Her body starts aligning with yours. Her tempo adjusts. Her voice shifts. Her phrases begin to echo yours. This isn't manipulation, it's resonance. It's the body attempting to say what words are still too hesitant to admit. When a woman is curious about your interest, she doesn't confront it head-on. She mirrors instead. You lean forward, and so does she. You fold your arms, and a few moments later, hers do the same. You pause between thoughts, and she does too. It's not mockery or mimicry, it's intimacy playing out through rhythm. And that rhythm tells her, are we dancing to the same internal beat? That's the question mirroring always asks. And the answer, in her mind, determines whether to move forward or pull back. She'll mirror your energy, not just your gestures. If you calm, she begins to calm down. If you speak with certainty, she starts adopting that same tone of assurance. She follows your emotional cues, not to manipulate, but to connect. Because emotional synchronization is how women measure safety and chemistry. If you're sharp and agitated, she may match it temporarily, but eventually she will drift away because it's exhausting. But if your energy is solid, grounded, and stable, she feels it like a current. And her nervous system relaxes in response. Stoic men understand this dynamic on an instinctual level. They know the power of being centered, not reactive, not overly excitable, but steady. A man like that becomes a mirror that doesn't just reflect back chaos, but brings peace. When a woman begins mirroring that kind of man, it's not just attraction, it's trust in motion. She may start using your phrases, laughing at your timing, even picking up your hobbies or interests. And it's not to win you over, it's because she wants to enter your world without you having to build a bridge for her. This is one of the most overlooked signs, and yet one of the most meaningful. Mirroring means she's already picturing what life feels like beside you. It's not flirtation, it's rehearsal. A Stoic man watches this unfold with quiet confidence. He doesn't try to manipulate the rhythm. He doesn't perform for approval. He simply remains present, anchored. And because of that, he gives her something rare in a world full of noise, someone she can sync with. So pay attention. Not just to the words she speaks, but to the patterns she reflects. Her laughter, her posture, her pace, these are signals written in behavior. And once you notice them, once you see her mirroring your essence, you don't need to play games. You just need to stay present. Because that's what she's looking for. A man who makes her feel more like herself simply by being himself. That's the Stoic advantage. Not control. Not seduction. Just presence and the calm observation of the signs that attraction is already happening. A woman who's truly curious about your interest won't blurt it out. She'll show it in the pauses, the looks, the subtle moves that most men ignore. But you're not most men. You're here because you want to see clearly, to respond with calm strength. That's the Stoic way. You don't chase. You don't assume. You observe. You reflect. And when the moment is right, you act with intention, not impulse. Every sign she gives is a breadcrumb. Some are obvious. Others are buried in nuance. But together, they form a map. A map of her willingness, of her openness, of her desire for you to lead. So remember this, attraction isn't loud. Interest isn't chaotic. It's quiet, intentional, subtle. And if you master the art of awareness, you won't just see the signs, you'll know exactly when it's time to step forward. That's power. That's presence. That's what separates the reactive man from the grounded one. Until next time, stay sharp, stay centered, and never stop becoming the man she quietly hopes you are.